The choosing ceremony. The arena of fates. The air reeked of ionized metal and sweat as Lyra stood chained to the sacrificial post. Around her, the Varaxian crowd roared, their serrated mandibles clacking in anticipation. The crimson sun of Xiphus Prime cast jagged shadows across the arena, each one a reminder, today, a human would die to keep the peace. Lyra clenched her fists. "I won't scream," she vowed. "Not like the others." The Overseer's Decree. Commander Drow, a hulking Varaxian clad in bioarmor, raised a clawed hand. Silence fell. "By the pact of the Old Ones," he intoned, "this fleshling is chosen." A hologram flickered above Lyra's head, a DNA spiral glowing gold, not red. The crowd gasped. Drow's 4 eyes narrowed. "This is an error. The temple's awakening." Before he could react, the Temple of Echoes shuddered. Obsidian pillars cracked, revealing veins of pulsating light. A voice, neither human nor Varaxian, boomed. "The catalyst is found." Lyra's shackles melted. Her veins burned as symbols flared across her skin, the language of the extinct precursors. The first bow. Drow stumbled back. "Kill her," he snarled. But the Varaxian soldiers froze. One by one, their knees hit the ground. The temple's light wrapped around Lyra like a cloak, and for the first time in history, the conquerors kneeled to a human. Drow's final snarl was pure terror. "What are you?" Lyra smiled. "Your reckoning. The trial of blood. The Varaxian dungeons." Lyra's newfound power had saved her from execution, but not from scrutiny. The Varaxians dragged her through the hollow crypts, a prison carved into the ribs of a dead cosmic beast. Bioluminescent fungi pulsed like dying stars, casting shadows that slithered across the walls. Commander Drow gripped her arm, his claws drawing blood. "The High Synod demands answers, Catalyst." He spat the title like a curse. Lyra said nothing. The precursor markings on her skin still glowed faintly, humming a song only she could hear. The High Synod's judgment. The chamber of the High Synod was a grotesque fusion of flesh and machine. 12 Varaxian elders sat upon thrones of calcified bone, their milky eyes unblinking. At the center floated the oracle core, a pulsating orb of liquid metal. Elder Vexus, the eldest, leaned forward. "You bear the sigil of the precursors. Explain." Lyra's voice was steady. "I don't know why your temple chose me." A lie. The markings had whispered to her in the arena, "You are the bridge. The trial begins." Vexus gestured, and the floor vanished. Lyra plummeted into the chasm of echoes, a pit where the Varaxians tested heretics. The fall seemed endless, until jagged crystals erupted from the darkness, forming a labyrinth. A voice boomed, "Survive, and you are worthy." The first test, hunger. The crystals shifted, revealing a monstrous Varaxian war beast, its maw dripping acid. It lunged. Lyra rolled, but a gash opened on her thigh. Blood splattered the crystals, and they absorbed it, flashing crimson. The beast froze. Then, impossibly, it bowed. The markings on Lyra's skin flared brighter. The second test, memory. The labyrinth melted into a vision, earth, burning. Varaxian warships rained fire upon her homeworld. A holographic child reached for her. "You could have saved us." Lyra's fists clenched. "This isn't real." "It is a future," whispered the oracle. "One you can prevent." The betrayal. Drow's voice crackled through the trial, "Synod, she's manipulating the systems." The elders conferred. Then, a new command. Final test, kill the beast. The war beast, still docile, nuzzled Lyra's hand. She hesitated. Drow smirked. Weakness. Lyra plunged her hand into the beast's chest, not to kill, but to merge. The creature howled as her markings spread across its hide. The chamber shook. The oracle core shattered. The truth revealed. From the wreckage rose a hologram of the precursors, a race identical to humans. Their message echoed. We seeded the Varaxians. You are our heirs. The temple is yours. Drow roared, drawing his plasma blade. Heretic. But the war beast moved faster, ripping off his arm. The other Varaxians fell back in terror. Lyra stood, bathed in the glow of the oracle's remains. Who else wants to test me? The crown of stars. The aftermath of the trial. The Varaxian High Synod's chamber lay in ruins. Smoke curled from the shattered remnants of the oracle core, its liquid metal now inert. Lyra stood at the center, her body humming with the precursor energy that had fused with her DNA. The war beast, once a mindless predator, now knelt beside her, its crystalline hide pulsing in sync with her own heartbeat. Commander Drow writhed on the ground, clutching the stump where his arm had been. His remaining soldiers hesitated, their weapons wavering between loyalty and terror. Elder Vexus, the eldest of the Synod, raised a trembling claw. You have defiled our most sacred trial, he hissed. The precursors abandoned us millennia ago. You are no heir, you are a disease. Lyra flexed her fingers, watching as the markings on her skin flared brighter. Then why does your temple obey me? The ground trembled. From the walls, ancient precursor machinery awakened, its purpose long forgotten by the Varaxians. A low hum filled the air, building to a crescendo. Then, silence. A single beam of light shot from the ceiling, striking Lyra's forehead. She gasped as knowledge flooded her mind. The vision of the ancients. Suddenly, she was no longer in the chamber. She stood on a bridge between stars, watching as a fleet of silver ships, human in design, yet impossibly advanced, sowed life across barren worlds. Among them, Vorax Prime, its surface lush and unbroken by war. A voice whispered, we made them. We left them. And now, they have forgotten. The vision shifted. A cataclysm, a rebellion. The Voraxians, engineered as guardians, turned against their creators. The precursors, rather than exterminating them, fled, embedding their legacy in human DNA. You are the key, the voice said. The crown of stars awaits. Lyra stumbled back into reality, her breath ragged. The Varaxians stared at her, their expressions a mix of awe and dread. Elder Vexus's voice was barely a whisper, what did you see? Lyra's reply was simple. The truth. The fracturing of the empire. News of the trial's outcome spread like wildfire. The Zealots, led by Drow's surviving loyalists, called for Lyra's execution. The Reformists, a faction of younger Varaxians, saw her as a sign of change. The Forgotten, a caste of slaves and outcasts, began whispering her name like a prayer. Meanwhile, the Temple of Echoes had sealed itself around Lyra, its doors responding only to her touch. Inside, she discovered a stasis pod, and within it, a living precursor, preserved for millennia. The being's eyes opened. You are late, it said. The prophecy unfolds. The precursor, who called itself Aeon, explained. The crown of stars was not a physical object, but a network of dormant precursor warships, hidden in the void. The Varaxians were never meant to rule, they were caretakers, tasked with guarding the galaxy until humanity matured. Lyra's DNA was the activation code. But there was a catch. To awaken the fleet, Aeon said, you must merge with the heart of the temple, a process that may destroy you. Drow's voice echoed from outside the chamber, his troops hammering at the doors. We don't have time for maybes, Lyra muttered. She stepped into the heart's chamber. The last thing she heard before the light consumed her was Aeon's warning. You will never be human again. The birth of a queen. When the doors reopened, Lyra emerged, transformed. Her body was now sheathed in living metal, her eyes glowing with the light of dead stars. Above her, the sky cracked open as the first precursor warship descended. The Varaxians fell to their knees. Even Drow, broken and bleeding, could only utter one word. Queen. The rebellion's price. The coronation of blood. The first precursor warship hung in the sky like a jagged silver moon, its shadow swallowing the Varaxian capital. Below, the streets were chaos. The zealots, armed with plasma rifles stolen from the Imperial armory, barricaded the city's arteries, screaming heresy. The reformists, their carapaces painted with the sigil of the Catalyst, clashed with them in the ruins of the Synod's palace. And above it all, Lyra, now clad in living metal, her veins humming with the energy of the ancients, watched. She had not asked for this. But the heart of the temple had reshaped her anyway. Aeon, the last precursor, stood at her side. They will never accept you willingly, it said, its voice like grinding stone. Power is taken, not given. Lyra flexed her fingers, watching as the metal of her new skin rippled. I don't want their fear. You already have it. A transmission crackled through the air, Commander Drow, his voice raw with fury. Traitor! You would hand our empire to these vermin? Lyra closed her eyes. The markings on her skin flared. Then she spoke, not to Drow, but to every Varaxian on the planet. I am not your enemy. But I will be your end if you force me. Silence. Then, gunfire. The siege of the Crimson Spire. The zealots struck first. Their war machines, relics of the old Crusades, rolled through the city's eastern quarter, reducing buildings to slag. The reformists, outgunned, fell back to the Crimson Spire, the last bastion of the Synod's rule. Lyra moved. She was faster now. Stronger. The precursor energy in her blood let her phase through solid matter, stepping between shadows like a ghost. She tore through Drow's forces, not with brutality, but with precision, disarming, disabling, never killing. But the Varaxians did not share her mercy. A sniper's round took her in the shoulder. The living metal hissed, repairing itself instantly. Lyra turned, and saw the shooter, a young Varaxian, barely more than a hatchling, trembling behind a broken pillar. Their eyes met. The child dropped the rifle and ran. Lyra let them go. The fractured throne. Inside the spire, the remnants of the High Synod waited. Elder Vexus sat upon the obsidian throne, his claws gripping the armrests like a drowning man clinging to wreckage. You have doomed us all, he rasped. The humans will never forgive us. And now, you have made us weak. Lyra stepped forward. The throne room's defenders, loyalists all, raised their weapons. Then lowered them. One by one, they knelt. Vexus's breath rattled. Why? Because I offer them something you never did, Lyra said. A future. She reached out, and the obsidian throne shattered, its dark stone crumbling to dust. In its place, she forged a new seat. One of light. The first edict. When Lyra spoke next, her voice carried across the planet. The war is over. She decreed. The Varaxian Empire would disband. The precursor fleet would remain dormant, for now. And Earth would be told the truth. Aeon hissed. You are wasting your advantage. Lyra ignored it. She knew what came next. Retaliation. The human response. The transmission from Earth arrived at dawn. A grizzled human admiral, his face scarred from a dozen battles, glared from the screen. This is Commander Elias Voss of the United Terran Defense Fleet. You have 5 cycles to surrender the precursor technology. Or we will take it. Lyra smiled sadly. She had expected this. Then come, she said. And cut the feed. The storm gathers. In the void between stars, the Terran fleet mobilized. And deep within the Temple of Echoes, the crown of stars waited. For the first time since her transformation, Lyra felt fear. Not for herself. For what she might have to become.